The smell of disinfectant and desperation still clung to my uniform when I pushed through our apartment door at 3:17 a.m. 24 hours of keeping overdoses breathing and heart attacks beating had left me hollow, but nothing, absolutely nothing, prepared me for what I was about to find. Riley lay sprawled across our bed in full makeup, her phone glowing beside her manicured fingers. She wasn't asleep. The bathroom light was on, and I could hear her voice drifting through the crack in the door. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. Trust me, babe, Derek's so much more fun than Caleb. He's all brawn, no brains, and his car is... oh my god, you die. I froze in our cramped hallway, still holding my paramedic bag. The words hit harder than any punch I'd taken in the boxing gym. My wife of 3 years, the woman I'd worked double shifts to support while she built her fashion blog empire, was talking about another man like I was some pathetic joke. Plus, Riley continued, her voice carrying that smug tone I'd been hearing more often lately, Derek actually appreciates what I do. Caleb just grunts and falls asleep watching TV. I set my bag down carefully, my hands surprisingly steady. Years of emergency medicine had taught me to stay calm when everything was falling apart. But this wasn't a cardiac arrest or a car accident. This was my marriage bleeding out in real time. Riley emerged from the bathroom, phone pressed to her ear, and nearly jumped out of her designer pajamas when she saw me. "Oh, Caleb, you're... early." She fumbled with the phone. "Jess, I'll call you back." "Early?" I checked my watch. "It's past 3 in the morning, Riley. I just finished a double shift." She had the decency to look embarrassed for about 2 seconds before her expression hardened. "Well, maybe if you actually talked to me instead of just complaining about work all the time, I wouldn't need to vent to my friends." "Vent about what exactly? How much more fun Derek is." The color drained from her face. "You were eavesdropping? In my own apartment? While you're talking loud enough to wake Mrs. Gold next door?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "So who's Derek?" Riley's phone buzzed. She glanced at it instinctively, and I caught a glimpse of the screen. A shirtless photo filled the display, along with a message that made me freeze. "Can't wait for tomorrow night, gorgeous." "Riley." My voice came out flat, emotionless. "Show me your phone." "What? No, that's private." "Show me the phone, or I walk out that door right now." She clutched the device to her chest like it contained state secrets, which apparently it did. "Fine," she snapped. "You want to know? Derek Morrison is everything you're not. He's successful, he drives a Maserati, and he doesn't smell like a hospital when he comes home. Derek Morrison, I knew that name, real estate developer, owned half the waterfront properties in town. Rich, connected, and apparently screwing my wife. How long? I asked. Does it matter? It matters to me. Riley sank onto the bed, suddenly looking smaller. 3 months. 3 months. While I'd been pulling extra shifts to pay for her photography equipment and designer clothes, she'd been playing house with Derek Morrison. I want to see your phone, I said again. Caleb, please, let's just talk about this like adults. Adults don't cheat on their spouses for 3 months. Hand it over. She shook her head, backing toward the bedroom door. I'm going to stay at Jess's tonight. We can discuss this when you've calmed down. I am calm. And I was, eerily, professionally calm. But if you walk out that door with that phone, don't bother coming back. Riley paused in the doorway, studying my face. Whatever she saw there made her decision for her. Fine, I'll be back tomorrow for my things. The door slammed behind her, leaving me alone in our suddenly foreign apartment. I walked to the window and watched her climb into a silver Maserati that had been idling at the curb. Derek Morrison, I presumed. Even from 4 floors up, I could see him lean over to kiss her as she got in. I stood there for a long time, watching the taillights disappear into the pre-dawn darkness. Then I noticed Mrs. Gold's curtains twitch in the building across the street. Our 70-year-old neighbor missed nothing, and in a town like ours, that meant everyone would know by morning. My phone buzzed, a text from my EMS partner, Joey. Dude, you need to see this. The attached screenshot showed Riley's Instagram story from 2 hours ago. A photo of manicured hands holding champagne glasses, captioned, Sometimes the best nights happen when hubby's at work, won't care, living my best life. Below it, dozens of comments from her influencer friends. Heart emojis, fire emojis, and one that made my stomach drop. Get it, girl. That paramedic was holding you back anyway. I scrolled through more comments, each one a small knife twist. These people, some of whom I'd met at Riley's events, who'd smiled to my face and thanked me for my service, were celebrating my humiliation. Then I saw something that made me see red. A private message thread Riley had screenshot and shared with her squad. My face in a photo I didn't remember her taking, with the caption, "When your husband thinks scrubs are formal wear, thank God for upgrades." But it got worse, much worse. Another screenshot showed a group chat called Riley's Revenge Tour. The messages made me physically sick. OMG, did you really send Caleb's nudes to flex on your exes? Girl, yes. His face when he finds out is going to be priceless. Wait, you shared his private pics? That's savage even for you. He'll never know it was me. I told Derek it was insurance. My hands shook as I read the thread. Riley hadn't just cheated on me, she'd violated me in the most intimate way possible, sharing private photos I'd never consented to distribute, photos that were now circulating among her influencer network like trading cards. I sat heavily on our bed, my bed now, and stared at the evidence of my wife's betrayal. 3 years of marriage reduced to screenshot gossip and emoji mockery. But as I sat there in the growing dawn light, something shifted inside me. The hurt was still there, raw and bleeding, but underneath it, something harder was crystallizing. Riley thought she was clever. She thought she'd gotten away with something. She had no idea what she'd just unleashed. I didn't sleep. Instead, I sat at our kitchen table with a cup of coffee that had gone cold hours ago, staring at Riley's laptop. She'd left it behind in her hurry to escape, and her email was still logged in. What I found there made the Instagram humiliation look like amateur hour. Email after email to Derek, planning their dates while I worked. Receipts for hotel rooms charged to our joint credit card. But the worst part was an email thread with her lawyer friend about protecting assets in case of divorce. Riley had been planning this for months. The cheating, the humiliation, even the financial strategy. She'd played me like a fiddle while I worked myself to exhaustion supporting her dreams. My phone rang. Joey. Man, you need to get down to the station, now. I'm not scheduled until tonight. Trust me, you need to see this. 20 minutes later, I walked into the EMS station to find half the day shift clustered around someone's phone, their faces a mix of amusement and pity. The conversation died when they saw me. Caleb, Joey pulled me aside. I'm sorry, man. This is all over social media. He showed me his phone. Riley's Instagram had exploded overnight. The story she'd posted had been screenshot and shared across multiple platforms. But that wasn't the worst part. Someone had created a meme using one of the photos from her Revenge Tour group chat. My face with the caption, "When you're working double shifts, but your wife's working double time." It had been shared 800 times in 6 hours. Who posted this? I asked. Anonymous account. But look at the comments. I scrolled through dozens of responses. Some were sympathetic, but most were brutal. People I'd helped, patients I'd saved, co-workers I'd trusted, all having a laugh at my expense. There's more, Joey said quietly. Check your email. My work email had 17 new messages. Most were from friends and colleagues offering support, but 3 were from numbers I didn't recognize. The subject lines made me freeze. Saw your wife's posts. Your nudes are everywhere. Thanks for the entertainment, loser. I opened the first one. It contained screenshots of a private group chat where my intimate photos were being shared and mocked by complete strangers. Riley's insurance policy had gone viral. Jesus Christ, I muttered. It gets worse, Joey said. Mrs. Morrison called the station this morning. Mrs. Morrison? Derek's wife. Apparently she's been getting anonymous tips about her husband's affair. She wanted to know if we had any information about Derek Morrison and a local paramedic's wife. The room spun slightly. Derek was married. Of course he was married. Riley wasn't just destroying my life. She was helping destroy someone else's family, too. What did you tell her? Nothing. It's not our business. But Caleb... Joey looked uncomfortable. She mentioned something about having photos. Security cameras at their lake house caught Derek's car there multiple times. With Riley. I closed my eyes. A married man. Riley was sleeping with a married man, and now his wife had evidence. There's something else, Joey continued. The chief wants to see you. Some complaint came in about unprofessional conduct related to your personal life affecting the department's reputation. My career. They were coming for my career now. I found Chief Martinez in his office, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. Sit down, Caleb. This is awkward as hell, but we need to talk. If this is about Riley, it's about the photos, son. Someone filed a complaint with the city. Says a city employee's private images are circulating online, creating a hostile work environment for other employees. I didn't share those photos, Chief. My wife did. I know that. You know that. But the optics are bad. I'm getting pressure from upstairs to put you on administrative leave until this blows over. You're suspending me because my wife shared my private photos without consent? Chief Martinez rubbed his temples. I'm trying to protect you, Caleb. Let the lawyers sort this out. Take some time off. Get your personal life handled. Then come back when things settle down. And if they don't settle down? He didn't answer, which was answer enough. I walked out of the station in a daze. In less than 24 hours, I'd lost my wife, my privacy, my dignity, and now potentially my job. Riley's revenge tour was more effective than she'd probably imagined. But as I sat in my truck in the parking lot, watching my coworkers avoid eye contact through the windows, something crystallized in my chest. A cold, hard certainty that cut through the humiliation and rage. Riley wanted to play games? Fine. But she'd made one crucial mistake. She'd assumed I was the same pushover who'd worked double shifts while she built her empire on our joint credit cards. The same guy who'd smiled and nodded when her friends made snide comments about my profession. The same doormat who'd apologized for being tired after saving lives all night. That guy was gone. Riley had eliminated him with her screenshots and group chats and champagne toasts. What she'd left behind was someone with nothing left to lose. Intimate knowledge of how this small town's gossip network operated, and 24 hours a day to plan his next move. I pulled out my phone and made 3 calls. First, to a divorce attorney Joey had recommended after his own messy split. Second, to a cyber crimes lawyer who specialized in revenge porn cases. Third, to a private investigator who owed me a favor after I'd kept his daughter alive following an overdose last year. Riley thought she'd won. She thought she'd humiliated me into submission. She had no idea the war had just begun. The divorce attorney, Patricia Hendricks, had an office that smelled like leather and old coffee. She listened to my story without interruption, occasionally making notes on a yellow legal pad. The good news, she said when I finished, is that Maine is a no-fault divorce state, so the adultery doesn't affect property division. The bad news is that you're probably looking at splitting everything 50-50, including debts. What about the photos? The revenge porn? That's criminal. Different court, different case. But it could impact spousal support if we can prove malicious intent. She leaned back in her chair. Tell me about your finances. I laid it out. Our joint checking account, the credit cards Riley had maxed out on photography equipment, the car loan for her BMW that I'd co-signed. On paper, we looked like a typical middle-class couple. In reality, I'd been funding her lifestyle while she planned my destruction. I want to see those credit card statements, Patricia said. If she was using marital funds to finance her affair, we might have grounds for reimbursement. The cybercrimes attorney, David Kim, was younger and worked out of a converted warehouse downtown. His office looked like a tech startup, all exposed brick and multiple monitors. Revenge porn is a felony in Maine, he explained, pulling up the relevant statutes on his screen. Non-consensual sharing of intimate images. Up to 5 years in prison, up to $5,000 in fines. What do I need to prove? That the images were shared without your consent, that you had a reasonable expectation of privacy, and that the sharing was intended to harass or intimidate. He turned to face me. Based on what you've shown me, this is a slam dunk case. The group chat messages prove intent, and the social media spread proves distribution. How long does this take? Filing the complaint? I can do that today. Getting arrests and convictions? Months, maybe years. But here's the thing. Once I file, it becomes public record. Your wife and everyone who shared those images will get subpoenas. Their phones, their social media accounts, everything gets examined. I smiled for the first time in days. Do it. The private investigator, Marcus Webb, met me at a diner on the outskirts of town. He was a former cop who'd gone private after a scandal involving the mayor's son. He owed me because I'd kept his overdosed daughter alive long enough for the naloxone to work. Derek Morrison, he said, sliding a manila folder across the table. Married to Linda Morrison for 15 years, 2 kids in high school, owns Morrison Development, specializes in waterfront properties. I opened the folder. Photos of Derek with Riley at restaurants, hotels, his lake house, timestamps, locations, even license plate numbers. How long have you been watching him? 3 weeks. His wife hired me after she found hotel receipts in his jacket. Marcus sipped his coffee. She's planning to take him for everything in the divorce. Half the business, the house, alimony, child support. She's been documenting everything. Does she know about Riley specifically? She knows about a woman. She's seen the photos of them together. But she doesn't know the woman is married, too. He leaned forward. That information might be valuable to her. I understood. Linda Morrison was fighting the same battle I was, just with better resources. Set up a meeting, I said. You sure? Once you go down this road, there's no backing out. I'm sure. Linda Morrison agreed to meet me at a coffee shop in the next town over. She was elegant in the way that money makes possible. Perfect hair, expensive clothes, the kind of understated jewelry that costs more than my annual salary. Mr. Thompson, she said, extending a manicured hand. I understand we have a mutual problem. You could say that. She ordered a latte and studied me across the small table. Marcus tells me your wife is the woman my husband has been seeing. For 3 months, according to her. According to my evidence, it's been longer. I have photos dating back 6 months. She opened her purse and pulled out a tablet. Would you like to see? The photos were damning. Derek and Riley at restaurants I couldn't afford, hotels that cost more than my weekly salary, his lake house that looked like something from a magazine. But it was the timestamps that really hurt. My birthday dinner, when Riley said she was sick and I ate alone at home. She was with Derek at a steakhouse across town. Our anniversary, when she claimed she had a work event. Derek's arm around her at a waterfront bar. Christmas Eve, when she said she was shopping for my gift. Kissing Derek in the parking lot of an expensive hotel. I'm sorry, Linda said quietly. I know this is difficult. How are you so calm about this? She smiled, but there was no warmth in it. Because I'm going to destroy him. Legally, financially, socially. By the time I'm done, Derek will be lucky to afford a studio apartment. She leaned forward. The question is, what do you want to do about your wife? I told her about the photos, the group chats, the memes. Her expression grew darker with each detail. Revenge porn, she said when I finished. That's criminal. I've already filed charges. Good, but criminal court is slow. Civil court can be much faster, especially with the right pressure. She pulled out her phone. I'm going to send you something. Don't open it here. My phone buzzed. A video file. Security camera footage from the lake house. Your wife and my husband 2 weeks ago. Very explicit. Her smile turned predatory. I was saving it for divorce court, but I think it might be more useful to you. What do you mean? Your wife built her reputation on social media, correct? Her brand, her followers, her income. It all depends on her image. I began to understand. The criminal case will take months, Linda continued, but social media moves at the speed of light. One viral post, properly timed, properly targeted. She shrugged. Sometimes the court of public opinion is more effective than any judge. You want me to leak the video? I want you to consider your options. Your wife humiliated you publicly. She violated your privacy, destroyed your reputation, potentially damaged your career. Linda finished her latte. Some people might say turnabout is fair play. She left me sitting in the coffee shop with her video file and a decision to make. The right thing would be to let the lawyers handle it, to take the high road, to be the better person. But Riley hadn't been the better person. She'd been calculating, vicious, and thorough in her destruction of my life. Maybe it was time to return the favor. I spent 3 days planning. 3 days of watching Riley's social media empire continue to grow while my life crumbled. She'd returned to our apartment while I was at work, suspended or not. I still had to pick up my final paycheck and taken half of everything. Her note, left on the kitchen counter, was a masterpiece of passive-aggressive bullshit. Caleb, I hope you can find happiness. I'm sorry things ended this way, but we both know we weren't right for each other. I'll always care about you. Riley. No mention of the photos. No acknowledgement of the humiliation. No apology for destroying my reputation and career. Just empty platitudes and fake concern. But she'd made a mistake. In her hurry to grab her designer clothes and photography equipment, she'd left behind her old laptop, the one with all her passwords saved, all her accounts logged in, all her dirty secrets backed up to the cloud. I'd spent those 3 days learning everything about Riley's digital life. Her real Instagram account, not the polished public one. Her private Twitter, where she mocked our marriage to her followers. Her OnlyFans account that she'd hidden from me, where she'd been selling intimate content for months. But most importantly, I'd found her business accounts. The sponsorship deals, the brand partnerships, the carefully constructed image that generated her income. Riley wasn't just an influencer. She was a business, and businesses could be destroyed. The plan was simple. Riley had built her empire on lies and image management. I was going to show her followers who she really was. Friday night, I put it into motion. First, I created anonymous accounts on every platform Riley used. Then I began posting Linda Morrison's security footage, along with screenshots of Riley's Revenge Tour group chat and evidence of her revenge porn distribution. But I didn't just dump it randomly. I was strategic. I tagged her sponsors, her brand partners, her influencer friends. I used hashtags that would ensure maximum visibility. I timed the posts for peak engagement hours. Within an hour, Riley's phone was probably buzzing nonstop. Within 2 hours, the first sponsor had dropped her. By midnight, Riley Thompson Exposed was trending locally. Saturday morning, I drove to the boxing gym for my usual workout. The owner, Tommy, was behind the counter reading something on his phone. "Jesus, Caleb, did you see this shit about your wife?" He showed me his screen. Riley's Instagram had been flooded with comments. Screenshots of the security footage were being shared across multiple platforms. Her carefully curated image was crumbling in real time. "Yeah," I said. "I saw it. Man, I'm sorry. This is brutal." But he was smiling when he said it, and I realized that everyone had known. The whole town had been laughing at me behind my back, and now they were enjoying the show as Riley got her comeuppance. I spent an hour on the heavy bag, working out months of frustration and rage. When I finished, my phone had 17 missed calls from Riley and 43 text messages. The text started angry. "What the fuck did you do?" Then desperate. "Caleb, please call me. We need to talk." Then bargaining. "I'll delete everything. I'll make this right. Please just stop." Finally, defeated. "You've destroyed everything." I didn't respond to any of them. Sunday morning, I met Joey for breakfast at our usual diner. He was grinning when I walked in. "Dude, you're like a local celebrity. Everyone's talking about what happened to Riley." "What are they saying?" "That she got what she deserved. That you're a hero for exposing her." He leaned across the table. "Chief Martinez wants you back on Monday, says the complaint against you was withdrawn, and the city's satisfied that you were the victim, not the perpetrator." My job was safe. My reputation was not only restored, but enhanced. I was the wronged husband who'd fought back against his cheating wife. "There's more," Joey continued. "Derek Morrison's wife filed for divorce yesterday. Took out a restraining order, too. Apparently, he showed up at her house drunk and belligerent after the videos went viral." I thought about Linda Morrison, elegant and calculating, systematically destroying her husband's life with the precision of a surgeon. She'd gotten what she wanted. "What about Riley?" Joey's expression grew serious. "She's done, man. Lost all her sponsorships. Her Instagram account got suspended for violating community guidelines, and her influencer friends are all distancing themselves. Word is she's moving back in with her parents." Riley's empire, built over 3 years of careful image management and strategic networking, had collapsed in 48 hours. Everything she'd worked for, everything she'd valued more than our marriage, was gone. Monday morning, I returned to work to find my locker decorated with congratulatory notes from co-workers. The chief shook my hand and apologized for the suspension. Even the hospital staff who'd been gossiping about me last week were suddenly friendly and supportive. I was the hero of my own story again. But that afternoon, as I was restocking the ambulance, my phone rang. Unknown number. "Caleb? It's Riley." Her voice was small, broken. Nothing like the confident woman who'd mocked me to her friends just a week ago. "What do you want, Riley?" I need to apologize. For everything. The photos, the cheating, the way I treated you. I know I can't take it back, but I'm sorry." "Are you sorry, or are you sorry you got caught?" Silence. "I lost everything," she said finally. "My career, my friends, my reputation. I can't even show my face in town." "Good. Caleb, please. I know I hurt you, but what you did, it's destroyed my life." "You destroyed your own life, Riley. I just made sure everyone could see it." "The lawyer says I could face criminal charges for the photos, prison time." "You should have thought of that before you shared them." She was crying now, ugly sobs that might have moved me a week ago. Now they just sounded like the consequences of her choices catching up with her. "I'm moving to Portland," she said. "Starting over. I wanted you to know I'm sorry." "Goodbye, Riley." I hung up and blocked her number. 6 months later, the divorce was final. Riley got half of nothing, which was what our marriage had been worth by the end. She pleaded guilty to revenge porn charges and got 2 years probation plus community service. Derek Morrison lost his business, his house, and his family. Linda took him for everything, just like she'd promised. I kept working, kept saving lives, kept moving forward. The town treated me like a hero, the wronged husband who'd fought back and won. Women started paying attention to me in ways they never had when I was married. But sometimes, late at night after a difficult shift, I'd think about Riley crying on that phone call, about how completely I'd destroyed everything she'd built. And I'd smile. Because sometimes revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's about making sure the person who wronged you understands exactly what they lost, and exactly what it cost them. Riley had wanted to play games with my life. I'd taught her that some games have consequences she never saw coming.